Hello guys, today we are going to talk about how the power of creative thinking may have effect in your life. Follow until the end so you don't miss anything that will change your life. Make sure to subscribe so that everybody in the whole world gets the message and subscribe, as well as it helps in the YouTube algorithm. Imagine for a moment that an unknown animal had been discovered deep in the jungles of South America. It is destined to replace the dog and the cat in popularity as a domestic pet during this century. What does it look like? What are its winning characteristics? Take some paper now and draw it, making some notes about your sketch. Your new animal may have short silky fur like a mole. Its face may be borrowed from a koala bear and its round cuddly body from a wombat. It is blue in color and green in temperament, for it does not foul the pavements or parks. That sounds a bit like a cat. It repels unwanted intruders more effectively than a guard dog, but is as gentle with children as a white rabbit. Your task as a creative thinker is to combine ideas or elements that already exist. If the result is an unlikely but valuable combination of ideas or things that hitherto were not thought to be linked, then you will be seen as a creative thinker. You will have added value to the synthesis, for a whole is more than the sum of its parts. The same fundamental principle that models for the solution to our problems probably already exist. We do not have to create them from nothing, can be applied to all creative thinking, not just to inventing new products. Remember that what the natural model suggests is usually a principle that nature has evolved or employed to solve a particular problem or necessity in a given situation. Radar, for example, came from studying the uses of reflected sound waves from bats. The built-in system weakness of the pea pod suggested a way of opening cigarette packages, a method now widely used in the packaging industry. There are other models or analogies to be found in existing products and organizations. Why reinvent the principle of the wheel when it has already been discovered? Some simple research may save you the bother of thinking it out for yourself. Creative thinking often involves a leap in the dark. You are looking for something new. By definition, if it is really novel, neither you nor anyone else, you cannot get there in one jump. If you can hit upon an analogy of what the unknown idea may be like, you are halfway there. Go and look for yourself. You may discover technologies that are ripe for transfer. It has been said that as individuals the Japanese are not highly rated as creative thinkers, but in groups they are much more creative. The secret of the Japanese economic miracle is that they traveled the world in search of the latest technologies that they could transfer to Japan, there to be endlessly adapted and improved. Quality circles, for example, was a system for getting work people to think creatively about their products or services, which made its first appearance in the United States after the Second World War. The Japanese transferred that system and developed it with outstanding success into their own industry. People with a narrow span of relevance are thinking within the tramlines and boundaries of their own industry. Leap over the wall. Develop a wide span of relevance, for there are connections between every other industry in the world and yours if only you could see them. It is the function of creative people to perceive the relations between thoughts, or things, or forms of expression that may seem utterly different, and to combine them into some new forms, the power to connect the seemingly unconnected. When you are thinking, you are traveling mentally, you are on a journey. For genuine thinking is always a process possessing direction. Look out for the unexpected thoughts, however lightly they stir in your mind. Sometimes an unsuspected path or byway of thought that opens up might be more rewarding than following the fixed route you had set yourself. A creative thinker needs to be adventurous and open-minded like a resourceful explorer. Developing your capacity for creative thinking will bring you rewards, but they may not be the ones you expect now. What does it mean for you to have a prepared mind? You have to be purposeful in that you are seeking an answer or solution to some problem. You have become exceptionally sensitive to any occurrence that might be relevant to that search. You have the experience to recognize and interpret a clue when you see or hear one. That entails the ability to remain alert and sensitive for the unexpected while watching for the expected. You will have to be willing to invest a good deal of time in fruitless work, for opportunities in the form of significant clues do not come often. In those long hours, experiment with new procedures. Expose yourself to the maximum extent to the possibility of encountering a fortunate accident. To interpret the clue and realize its possible significance requires knowledge without preconceptions, imaginative thinking, the habit of reflecting on unexplained observations and some original flair. Things that happen unpredictably, without discerning human intention or observable cause, can be stitched into the process of creative thinking. To be an inventor, you've got to know about a lot of different subjects in different ways, so you have to teach yourself what you want to know. I don't think university is much of a help if you want to be an inventor. One of the prime aims of education, it could be argued, is to develop such an inquisitive mind. There is a story about a young officer of whom it was said, his men will follow him anywhere out of a sense of curiosity. In creative thinking, curiosity about what will happen next is an important ingredient in motivation. Creative activity, agonizing though it may be at times, is essentially life-enhancing, often joyful, and this can be judged not from the fixed smiles worn by models advertising power tools but by the extent to which the individual is seriously engrossed in his activity. Outside making love, men and women never feel better than when they are totally engaged in exploration or construction, especially when the motivation is simply, I wonder what will happen if I do this. In other words, it is not simply a case of being curious in order to gather information, the raw materials of creative thought. Rather, creative thinking is itself a way of learning something new. You are not quite sure where your train of thought will lead you. So there is a connection between thinking and learning, or rather trying to teach oneself. Thanks for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe so that this message reaches many people. Also, don't forget to like because it helps in the YouTube algorithm and as a motivation to me as well. I hope this message helps you succeed in your journey.